Hi everyone and welcome to the latest edition of The Plotting Shed, and today we are joined by Land and New Homes Network royalty, the very own Matt Nicol, fresh from the barbers.
Yes, yeah.
Looking very sharp.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Very sharp.
Keeping it simple.
Got Mr. Stratford on camera as well. You all right, mate?
I'm good, yeah, thank you. Actually, I'll probably need to go to the barbers.
Yeah, I've got to go on Friday. So, how are you, Matt?
Very good, thank you. Yeah.
Good.
Well fed, thank you for having me, and thank you for the fabulous spread you gave me.
Well, you know, it's just always a part of the Land and New Homes Network sort of fodder that we put out. So
very well looked after, thank you.
You know it. So here we are, graced with the royalty of the UK's best sales estate agency 2024. How's it been since? Obviously, massive moment. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was an absolute honour to have won that.
I know it's something you've been nailing or trying to nail for a few years, isn't it? It's been on your sort of hit list of things to...
It has, yeah. We'd won kind of a few small agency awards, which was one of the reasons we got introduced to you guys back in 2016. We'd won a Lettings Award, I think it was, that got us in touch with you originally when you first founded and started. But Best Estate Agency Guide, it's the one that people want to win, really. And I didn't send the full team down because I've done that before and walked away with nothing. So went with a smaller group, a couple of managers, myself and Richard. And lo and behold, that was our time. So we won Best Small Agency, we won Best Small Sales and Lettings Agency, and then in the Best Sales Agency category, which is the small, the independent, the medium and the large, we won that overall as well. So
It's incredible.
It was fantastic.
Trust you suitably celebrated?
I don't know. Yes, we didn't stay down in London, which we've done before. Again, we kind of didn't plan for it that we were going to win. We thought we were going to go down, see what happened, and came back. But we had a few in the car on the way back. Staff were delighted. We actually had a staff plan due the next day anyway. So we went to Piston Gin, which is a place near us for gin school.
Yeah, I thought I needed to edit that.
Yeah, no. We went to Piston Gin the day after for a gin school. We had dinner already planned. So yeah, it was great to kind of celebrate with a few of the guys. 2 days of drinking wasn't great for me, but we plough on.
Well, I want to get into it because one of the things, obviously, we've known you for a long time now, consider you a very, very good friend, both in the business and out of the business. Obviously got to know your family well. All the values that you've got very much align with what we try to do here. And when I tour around the country, obviously, you know, you've been a good ambassador for the network over the years. And the line that comes out all the time, what's Matt Nicol up to? What's the secret sauce? What's the magic? And I know, obviously, you've probably been asked that 100 times before, but if you were reflecting on last year, why do you think, can you think anything that sort of specifically you did differently? I know you were really innovative through the pandemic with, obviously, the live stream stuff, but can you just, is there anything you just say, actually, it just felt right, it was your year? Yeah,
do you know what, we weren't probably as planned as we have been previously. I think when you've lost on a few of them, you don't give up hope. You don't make it the big be all and end all. And in previous years, I know that I've been telling the staff, right, the calls are going to be coming in any time this week. Make sure you're on it. We didn't do that this year or last year. There's kind of 5 areas that they're scoring you on. So it's the success rate, it's the time that your properties are taking to sell, but it's other things. And I think what the judges really liked about us is that we are not just an agency that sells properties, but we've got quite a lot to do with our community. So last year was the year that the big Worcestershire garage sale started. So that was something that was different to what any other agents did. The community fund, there's other agents, one of your members, Paul, from Homes, that does that, that we kind of picked upon and we moved it on a little bit further. There's just a lot of things that we do different to just being a normal estate agency. And I think the final decision comes down to 30 judges, big names in the industry that actually go, those guys make a difference, they do something in their patch. And I think I can't put it down to one thing. We've probably worked as hard as we ever have. It was a tougher market. It's a better award to win, if I'm honest with you, because it was really a year where your vendors needed you, your developers needed you. You had to be working doubly hard to get the sales that you needed over the line. So, yeah, proud moment for us all.
And Matt, on that community stuff, obviously you guys are quite renowned for doing that. How do you pick and choose what you don't do? Is it a team thing? Is it you do? Because I guess when you start to do one thing, it can be quite easy. You could be doing everything and sponsoring everything, and you can't do it all. How does that work within the business on what gets supported and what doesn't?
Yeah, for years we've been sponsoring a lot of different things, and therefore you do get asked by pretty much everyone. But the community fund's kind of answered that because we've given away probably close to £60,000 now to a number of different community groups, schools, projects, etc. And so therefore, when someone comes asking for 500 quid towards kits, I always felt guilty to say no, but now I say, unfortunately, we can't because we already commit so much to other things. The big Worcestershire garage sale actually came from a conversation I was having with my coach in America. Over in America, garage sales are a regular. That's how Gary Vaynerchuk used to flip toys and make loads of money. And I thought, you know what? There's a lot of people that are stressed out with the amount of stuff they got knocking around their house. We've got a good profile. We've got a good local community on our social media, so we can elevate a process that the community could get involved with. We could help to market this. And that big Worcestershire garage sale, it's our first year. We're going to do it again this year. We've already got it planned out. We know what we're going to do this time. It's just bits and pieces like that. There's some repeat things that we can do every year. So the school sports days, they always work out really well. Nicol Co water bottle, kid then use it for the rest of the year. Fresh piece of fruit on the day, because obviously kids are going to be running around. So, and that always goes down well. But we speak as a group. We learn from.
And I know that you're obviously getting, you're obviously putting a huge amount of effort into that community stuff. The thing that always strikes me whenever we come to your summer party or we talk to your staff, the staff, you can feel it. You know what I mean? We come along, obviously come with my family. You can just feel that the staff have really bought into what you're trying to do and whatever. And, how do you create that culture? How have you got that kind of running through? And I'm sure you've had some people come and go, but I'm sure deep down there's something that I just feel it, particularly at the moment. Been in the office obviously a couple of weeks ago. Yep. Such a great vibe. Some guys I've not even met before, and they've come up, offered a drink. You all right? And just generally, it was kind of you feel it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and the guys will too. But I think when you have got kind of clear vision, clear values, it's quite important. One of the most important probably for us is likeable. And when you say, there's staff that have been and gone before, they probably were great performers. They probably did win a lot of instructions, bits and pieces. But if you don't really genuinely feel like you enjoy working alongside them, then that's quite an important thing.
Well, Neil Leahy actually mentioned that same point on the podcast we did with him recently. And he said about, they employ nice people.
Yep. It's a crucial part, because sometimes the skill's lacking actually at the beginning. But if you know that they're going to listen to you and they've got a good attitude towards it, some of your best successes are going to be those people that actually you could put them in a room with 15 random people and they'd still come out with, learning their names and having a conversation. Things like the summer party, I think those are the things that kind of really add to what we do as well. It's that kind of culture that everyone does get on, and my wife meets all of my staff and my kids knock around with some of the staff's children and stuff like that. That's kind of what it is a little bit more about, because we do work very hard. There's a lot to be done on a daily basis. So it's nice to know you're working and performing alongside people who are giving it their all as well at the same time.
It's that classic case, isn't it? We're sat here at this big table, from when we brought in here, it's like eat together, win together, isn't it? Break bread and kind of, we're at work a lot of time, and, you want to be with the right people that are motivating and inspiring you. And I guess just picking up on that point, if I may, I know obviously you do a lot of work with sort of things like agents together, and obviously your own staff development. It's always struck me that you're very passionate about that, and almost to the point that you'd sacrifice, potentially in some instances, other business opportunities that come along in order to really give the Matt Nicol time to your team. And is that something that you just particularly enjoy, or is that just your coaching mentality?
I think that's what I'm kind of finding this year is all about for me, and probably the next couple of years. I've just turned 40 in November, and now I'm kind of working out.
You don't look old enough.
Say again?
You don't look old enough.
Say that again louder into the
mic. You don't look old enough.
Thank you.
He definitely doesn't look old enough.
No, I have just hit that kind of midlife crisis era. But I do kind of feel that I want to now do things that I enjoy. I'm quite focused on making sure I'm doing stuff that give me the kind of the kick that I want, and training staff and seeing them develop. Obviously, it has a positive impact for the business, but you can kind of see it in the staff's faces that they enjoy it. The mentorship, having mentees in the business or in the industry with agents together, it's a brilliant thing to be able to give back and give your time to people. Sometimes you're just listening to them. They actually have all the answers. You just need to be that sounding board. But one thing I've got into a routine of is trying to kind of cut down the time it takes me on things, because you can spend hours on giving away free time. But as an example, I record a tip every morning for my staff. I use Loom. And every single morning, my routine is get up, get ready for going to the gym, record a tip. That then gets sent on a time delay, sends out at 8 a.m. They all watch it in their morning meeting at 8:30. They've all got something they're going to take from that, and then they're going to go and work with it. So today's tip was about making sure we're focusing on, rather than having a 10-mile radius from our office and going for everything that we could, being really specific about the patches that we want to boss. And then with our marketing manager, with the rest of the team, we can be a bit more specific on targeting those areas. If the staff listen to that, as they would have done this morning, and they actually go away and think, right, where is it we really want to be? That'd be great for the business for the next 5 years. They could really start going, that's our postcode sector that we want to see our boards mainly, not only, mainly.
And do they share their own experience? So if one of them's had, looking at, I don't know, someone like Tom or Heather in your team, if they've done something and it's gone really well for them, would they openly share that across the business as well? Is that two-way, or is it?
I think staff would probably struggle with trying to do it that way. But I think the good thing is that the staff will acknowledge it and recognise it. And I love it when a manager sends me a message about something one of their staff has done. We do lots of recording. We've had a new starter recently, a lady called Millie, and she's recorded our coming soon video with Sajith coming up to him with a camera, just like what's coming onto the market next week. She recorded it in a second take, and that's amazing, because it's a bit daunting when you've got cameras pointing at you. You've been in the company for 5 days. You've just learned everyone's name in the office. Now you're being told, can you tell everyone what properties we've got coming on next week? And the manager sent me that to let me know what was being done in our office. Obviously, there's a warm feeling for the staff member, new starter, or even if she's experienced. Yeah. But I think that staff aren't quite there. I'll try and put them on a pedestal. Best practice, we do try and share. The managers are in a really good situation where they're communicating without the need for me. So rather than kind of running questions through me, they're running questions through each other. And that's great, because they're getting their own kind of autonomy on how things can work in the business without having to run it through the boss all the time.
And that feedback, I mean, I agree, Matt, obviously, with obviously everything, as Kevin mentioned, the summer fates, which are brilliant, apart from one dubious decision. I think our team didn't win the rounders, but I won't bring that up now. It's a long story. It still hurts.
Sounds like you're holding that one a bit.
I think we definitely did, but there was definitely some counting that went awry. But I don't want to bring that up right now. But do you listen to the feedback? So those coaching tips that you do on a daily basis, is that stuff that you're just learning and then implanting, or are they kind of giving you, look, we'd really want to know more about this around the business? How do you? Because that's quite a commitment to do that every day. With then going, what am I going to say tomorrow? Or it's a
bit of everything. Some of it just comes to me in terms of what I used to do, because I think this market's a normal market, but some of my staff that joined in 2 years ago joined in a market where stamp duty incentive, low interest rates, you list it sells. So I'm kind of going back to my memory banks of how I used to pitch properties, used to kind of have the magic property. I know this isn't on your wish list, but come and have a look at it anyway. Putting any offers forward to vendors rather than going, no, I don't think the vendor's going to consider putting everything forward because it puts a low marker in minds and stuff. I think those things naturally come to me. But also if I'm in one-to-ones with managers and they say, staff members struggling a little bit with this, I've talked to them about this is what we're going to do with it. I kind of bank it as a tip for the future, because I don't want it to kind of feel like, well, they're definitely with the manager the other day, so therefore Matt's just aiming that one at me. I spend a lot of time in the offices as well, so I'm just spotting and hearing things.
Yeah. And have you got those logged? Do you tack those type of things that you can go back into that?
Well, this is
This
is a great thing. So with Loom, obviously all your videos will stay on Loom because we've got a paid for account. So it will do transcript for every single one of them. So ChatGPT, it's not a project I've started yet, but if we get some work experience student, I might give them the job. You can get transcript for everything. I've done this now for about 9 months. You can get every single one that I've done, take the transcript, drop it into ChatGPT and turn it into a bite-size, to-do list or troubleshoot or whatever it might be. I'd like to think that eventually I can kind of use all that as a bit of an ebook. There'll be some stuff that's very relevant to the time. So I might be talking about the market at the moment and inflation staying at 4% yesterday and all those bits and pieces and what that might mean you need to say to a vendor. But there's a lot of the stuff that's just good practice that...
I bet there's some gold in there. There's plenty of agents that will be watching this today be saying, oh my God, I want to get my hands on that.
Yeah, I need to work out how I can monetize it. But
first Matt Nicol edition book.
Yeah. Well, I do. I think using something like ChatGPT, I've got a member of staff, James, who you know, our lettings manager, who's writing a book at the moment. And now he's actually got to the process where he's finished the book and he's now using ChatGPT to review it and help kind of with the editing. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. But I think that there is stuff that's up here that needs to be out there, really. It needs to be in front of people. And a lot of my learning came from people like Julian O'Dell, still out there, still doing great coaching sessions to people. And actually, it still works. Stuff that I did when I was just starting out in agency back in 2009 still works now. It's
I think we can all look back at people that have inspired us, can't we, around sort of our careers, if you like, to just go back. I remember some of the Adam Walker training, Julian O'Dell, as you say, just some names that I'm not maybe doing the training now as he was, but certainly Julian, and it always makes me smile. We keep talking back to basics, but it's so true, isn't it? Relationship building and all of that stuff. Just on that point, you've mentioned Julian there. When you look at the sector, are there particular people that you could sort of say that have had a really defining moment on your career and, that have inspired you to kind of push on, or what inspires you to kind of, turn up every day?
Inspires me to turn up every day, or I feel like now with my kind of coaching that I'm choosing to have mentors from across the pond. I like the fact that I don't know everything, and I like the fact I continue to learn myself. I think that's good for the staff, for them to be able to kind of learn from that. I would have taken some of my best stuff from Julian O'Dell when I started out, and it stuck with me forever, really. We've actually had him back to do some training with our staff, which is good because it's reminding or reinforcing what I've done. I suppose where I started out as an agent, when I was independent, I had 3 good directors. They always had a lot of time for me. They saw the passion that I had to become an estate agent and to progress within the company, and that was probably paid back with my promotions that I achieved.
They must be kicking themselves now.
No, actually, I can't remember what it was. I think we put a press release out about winning the Best Estate Agency Award, or it might have been our 14-year anniversary or something like that. And I actually name-checked that I'd been at the property centre previously. And actually, it was probably the one thing that triggered their director to message me, because we didn't speak anymore, really. If we were at an event, we'd definitely say hello to each other, but I still rate them very highly. I thought they were a good business for me, certainly to get me into the industry. And it was nice. He dropped me a message just to say, hope you're all well, how's the family, and all that kind of stuff. So they had their pound of flesh out of me. We all know. And we work in slightly different markets now. It's not like we are competing in terms of we're in the same area, but we do a different job to them and different house prices.
Matt, you mentioned obviously, I know you're doing a lot more over in the States and with your kind of coaching and bits and pieces, mentorship over there. I guess it is a misconception that, well, hold on a minute, their market is, as we hear all the time, is very different to the UK, the fees, the marketing and everything like that. How do you find, obviously you must get value, otherwise you wouldn't do it, but how do you find taking the ideas that they've got? Is it massively different, or is it just a case of taking the best of it and then rejigging it to a UK market? Yeah,
it's very difficult because they actually do have a lot of differences to what we have over here in terms of the speed in which they can get their transactions through, the fees that they can charge, and all those bits and pieces. They've got buying agents, they've got selling agents. But that's the kind of like the overarching view of real estate over there. But I like the fact that they actually, some of the videos that they're producing, some of the way they're looking at their analytics on things like YouTube and stuff like that, it's those little bits that I'm kind of picking from them. So you can't go to an event like an elite retreat and come back with 100 new ideas. You just need to pick a couple, implement them in your business, and it'll make a massive, massive difference. I think it's probably a good challenge for their coach, or the coach that I have, a lady called Sandra. I think it's probably a good challenge for her as well, because our market is completely different. So she's not telling me how to do it, but she's just questioning why I do certain things, because over there they wouldn't do it that way. So why is it that we do it that way in the UK? Yeah,
it's good to just have somebody to hold you to account, I guess, on those.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to be pushed. I don't want someone who kind of thinks, oh, you're good anyway, you don't need me to do much. I want someone who, thinks I'm crap and is willing to really work on me. So that's what I get from it.
So, Matt, just following on from that then, obviously you're talking about the coaching that you're having. And obviously I know when we're talking off camera earlier on, obviously some of the ideas that have been shared, and I know you've obviously implemented a lot of stuff back into your own business over here, and some of that marketing stuff, whatever. Again, I'd sort of say, and I remember you coming here quite a few years ago now, and I think at the time we were looking at people like Brecon that were obviously sort of, at the time, I'm going to put them they were really out there, weren't they, in terms of some of that video stuff or whatever. What I really like is that you went off and you did it, you didn't copy it, you went and created your own thing. So you sort of, imitation, whatever the expression is, you didn't try to just copy it, you really tried to kind of make it your own. And I know obviously now you've got Sajif on board, and that's taken the video game up again. If we look at the new home space, obviously you made a real impact in the new home space in your local market, obviously initially starting with some of those smaller developers. I know more recently you've obviously been working with people like Spitfire, Line Court are a consistent long-term client of yours now. What do you think, you're adding a lot into the mix, if you like, around that sort of marketing support. Maybe the volume house builders don't either see value in that, or they're not offering the right level of fees. But what I see is that you're really showcasing those new homes in a very different way. and we talk about some of the social media reach or whatever, do you kind of, how do you kind of bundle all that up, and what's the kind of response to that?
I think it's the SME builder we enjoy working with. Go back to the kind of the first ones that we started out, the single plots to 4 plots. They wouldn't have a marketing team. They wouldn't have the, energy for it or passion to do it themselves. They need someone else to kind of shine the spotlight on them. And that's where it really did start, and you knew from your first video with a few CGIs that you'd put together for them what difference it made. I remember my first site, and it's just as we'd done the kind of the deal with you guys to join the network. Great Nobury Barnes, 3 properties. I spent hours and days and evenings on CGI improvements. I tried to go as cheap as I could with a CGI person. It meant that we had barriers in terms of conversations and stuff like that. The wrong kind of grass was being used, and all these details that had to change. But from what I'd originally valued the site at, GDV, from a plan, to what we actually achieved for them, I mean, there was hundreds of thousands of pounds difference. And that probably just gave me that kick up the backside, say that's how you have to do it. You can't cut corners on it. You've got to make sure every time you kind of do it like you did with Great Nobury Barnes. And there are developers out there like Spitfire who have their own marketing team, but even, they would say, and they'd confirm, that we still add value. We complement what they do. We do a lot more than some of the other agents they already kind of refer to. And we want to bring that to the table. We've got Sajith, who's absolute master craftsman when it comes to videography, drone license, so he can do everything and get the engagement. We've got a marketing manager now with Hayley, who's from a property background, so she used to work for Lion Court in her past. I didn't poach. She'd been to other places before I had Hayley join us. And then we've got support as well in Manila with a lady called Cess, who does the grunt work, a lot of the editing, a lot of the things that means that Sajith can get out there and go and film another piece, and we're not taking too long on producing this content.
That's a big commitment, isn't it, that you've taken there? But I'm guessing that you can monetize that to say, well, actually, the impact that it's had around more valuable instructions that you've listed, and your general efficiency as a business, and even looking at your brand. I look at how the brand has grown in that time, and obviously you've put a lot of effort into your website. Even that rebrand, that subtle rebrand that you had. What's that, probably going back 4 or 5 years ago now?
It would be, yeah. We've had 2 websites since,
Yeah, so, but it, in a way, it's just so out there as kind of a best-in-class sort of stuff. But I'm guessing you've just really seen a value that you've sort of made that investment and that commitment because of, I don't know what your ambitions are about, going global or anything like that. I don't think it's...
No,
I don't think it's that, but...
No plans to go global.
But it's, we always joke that a lot of agents spend more on their Rightmove subscription than they do on their own website, but all of that stuff, I'm guessing your marketing mix, if you like, with the video and people like Hayley, Sajith, or whatever, is that kind of...
I think we're in the era where estate agents need to be more than just estate agents. They do need to be the whole marketing arm. We have a thing in our marketing strategy that bells and whistles as standards is part of it, so we don't charge up front for those things. We often include it. It's rolled into our fee. And going back to kind of what it does for us as a business, yes, financially, it probably does work in our favour because we'll win sites at the right fee. Yep. Timescale in which we'll sell properties, it's a lot better. If we do feature spotlight on Ombersley as a village, that means that people are going to be going to the Spitfire site in Ombersley, but actually people in Ombersley are going to see what we say about their village. There's a lot of benefits to doing it that way, and it is a heavy investment. Certainly at the beginning, you don't go for 3 people straight away, but you gradually build up to what you then need. And I think you've got to work on the basis that Sajith editing his own stuff is not good use of his time anymore. So Cess really complements him. They work very closely together. But then I was probably bottlenecking and slowing things down because of just the way I was busy with all different things. So we needed to get Hayley in to work with Sajith to then work with Cess. So it's a big arm to the business now. Our vendors have the benefit of it. Our landlords and tenants get the benefit of it. And obviously our developers, they've got a whole marketing team that know what they're on about. They know what buyers are looking for. We're marketing the right stuff. I mentioned to you, I won't name names, but developers using some branding agency that's come up with a really silly idea in terms of the way to market discounts, making it childish, which isn't going to appeal to a buyer who's going to have to spend 500 grand on a house. You've got to make sure you're inspiring people to want to come to site, and that's what we're trying to do with the way that we're filming stuff. Social proof, interviews with the people that live there, all these things. it really, really works. And then going back to the fact that this is obviously then going out on our social media channel, we've got a really close network of community that are looking at our stuff. No doubt
that's got to be the big pull for a house builder, isn't it? You know, that house builder that comes into town, I've always sort of banged on about this, that they go and set their Facebook account up because they've got a site in a particular village or town. They've got no following, they've got
nothing organic.
Whatever, yet you'll reach just instantly, and this is why I keep so if you're a house builder, you need to work with agents like Matt. You know, the sort of value that an agent brings sometimes is sort of so tangible, but very often can get overlooked.
I think it's massive. You know, and there's loads of reasons that developers should use agents. The database is probably the big thing as well. They've got buyers that they've registered, that they've shown other properties for whatever reason wasn't for them. You can't rely on just banging something on Rightmove, as I said earlier. We're more than that now. But yeah, our database Facebook page has been going for 14 years. So we have got a lot of people that live locally to our offices that are, you know, going to be interested in property, might have bought 10 years ago, now thinking of their next move. But the way I like it working is at the moment, and it's happening loads on our Facebook pages, we do these very short videos, they're very punchy, they're very engaging. And I'm seeing names of people that I've sold houses to before, tagging friends in. So they're still following us on Facebook, right, but they're helping a friend out, colleague, whatever it is, on their journey now, on their property journey. And I don't think that all developers are going to have, I think we've got 8,000 followers on Facebook now. I don't think they're going to have anywhere near that with their new launch of a site. They might do some paid advertising. It's a drop in the ocean, really. The organic reach is much, much stronger.
Is there, obviously, Facebook is there. There's so many now, isn't there, in terms of Instagram, obviously, where TikTok's going, YouTube, etc. Is it important to be across all of those aspects, or would you just particularly target one or two of the social media channels? It's
funny, for different things work. For us, Facebook is probably the thing that will give us the best return.
Right. And
we don't do the boosted posts. We might do the odd kind of online valuation tool campaign and stuff like that. You've got to use them, each their method. So TikTok's just for the funny bits, I think. You know, that's not going to find you a developer that wants to sell their properties because the age that it's aimed at is probably not right. Facebook, you're going to get a lot of home buyers probably looking at that, which is great. I think LinkedIn's a great place for us to communicate the quality instructions to people who might be managers of businesses and stuff like that, looking for their own property. X, we don't really do much on, or Twitter, as it was known, don't really do much on there at all. We haven't gone down the Threads route. I'd say probably Facebook first, Instagram second, LinkedIn probably third, and then TikTok's down below those.
And with the video stuff, you're looking, obviously, we were talking about YouTube earlier. Is that's obviously an area that you really want to
we want
push
to
more?
I think this is what I'm kind of learning from America, that it's massive in America. It's not really here yet. The only people that kind of comment about seeing our stuff on YouTube is my son's friends, so it's not really kind of like the target audience that I'm aiming at, although eventually they'll want to buy or sell a house.
Point, yeah.
But yeah, I guess YouTube's owned by Google. It's a search engine, so as long as you're using the right keywords, you're building up your Nicol Co page or my Nicol Co page in the Google searches as well. So you've got to make sure you're putting some effort into it as well.
And with yours, obviously, video is so key now, as we know. Interestingly, I know that when you were first doing a lot more video stuff, it was mainly you, because I guess all your staff are going, Matt, do it, and you want to obviously grow the brand. That's definitely now so many more of your team are all in there. If you're recruiting for somebody, do you make that part of the recruitment process of you are going to be expected to do video? Is that in part of that sort of interview bit, or is it just something you naturally hope they nurture into? Because it has to be such a key element of it, as well as clearly doing the important thing of listing or selling houses.
Yeah, we've got a few people that I would love to be on the videos a little bit more. So valuation managers, as an example, they are often the first person that the vendor is going to see. But some of them are reluctant to do it. So we don't make it something that everyone has to do. There's a few, and you'll recognise the faces. You'll know the names now, and you would have seen them in our offices. But there's people that live in Droitwich, Worcester, and Malvern who feel like they know our staff, and that's the beauty of it. It's not about me. I can't go out to every valuation. I can not attend the viewing. So it's more about everyone feeling comfortable with the team, and it's great. And I think as staff are seeing themselves improving in it, and that's probably the first thing. I felt, if I was going to ask someone to do it, I had to do it myself. Yeah. I've had some painful videos. I remember standing in Cannes with you and you saying, right, come on, you've got to film, you've got to say that you're here, you've got to tell people who you're here to meet.
We're going to come on to MIP in a minute.
Okay. Going back to the
that's right. What's days on tour starting?
Good. Can you make sure you edit these closely? No, but I think for me first, it was just to show the staff that it could be done. And I know I'm still not the polished article. I'm still not as good as some others, but I know I'm better than I started out as. And the guys... Say again?
Are you fishing for a compliment?
No, I've had those. I've had enough for today. Level it off when I get home and see the wife. She'll put me back in my place. No, I think it's great for the staff, and they are engaged in doing it. Sajith actually now, he doesn't come via me to book things in. He sits in the morning meeting with the staff. He tells them what he's planning to record, and he gets them to do it. And they all enjoy it. It hasn't got any involvement with me anymore.
Cool. Well, we've spoken a lot about your agency and obviously the culture you've got running through. Talked obviously about what you're doing on the different house builder clients. One of the other questions I get, and I talking to somebody yesterday, I said, he said, what you got on for the rest of it? I said, I've got Matt Nicol coming in tomorrow to do a podcast. He said, right, can you ask him this? Because they've watched your new homes journey. And the thing we always take a lot of pride in, I remember sort of our very early conversations, it wasn't about going for that big hitter that you were going to bring in that was going to be the land and new homes person. You very much did it yourself. But if you were reflecting on your learnings over the last sort of 7 and a bit years now, the question was, what would you do, and what would you sort of take from your learnings in the space? I know there's obviously been, highs and lows and, good years and all right years or whatever. Yeah. But, if you were looking at it objectively now and the value piece that you have, I know obviously you've got your dedicated team up to point. What would your advice be?
I think that is part of it. When you want to get into the land and new homes sphere, you can't just bolt it onto your resi sales team and say, can you do that at the same time? You really need to commit to, and that's what I have no regrets in the way that I've done it, in terms of I set up a separate limited company straight away, had a new department, I headed it up to begin with. We were in a fortunate position in the business that I was looking for a new challenge. I wanted to feel like I was doing something, selling stuff and negotiating. So that's how I began that. And I'd say that is still the very best way to start it. You need to give someone the responsibility. They need to be accountable. You need to kind of really look at what your market opportunities are. I think I'd probably say no to a few more things than I did. Yep. The Golden Goose, we didn't really aim for the big ones, but we did say yes to a few kind of referral only agreements, and it wasn't all it's cracked up to be. And you get a lot of kind of bad pain points from those things. You work very, very hard, but sometimes in this industry you don't get the payback for what you put into it. And so I would kind of say, if I was doing it again, I'd probably been a little bit more selective from the outset. It doesn't consume you, but it takes a lot of your energy. So if you want to try and do more than one job properly, you probably need to kind of start to delegate a few bits off to other people and go, no, I'm focusing on this one. Because once you do get it up and spinning, and you had Butler and Stag on, and it sounds like they've kind of got there as well. Once you do have it up and spinning, and then your marketing kind of catches up with it and all those bits and pieces, you're the first choice for most builders. Most people come to you saying, right, we don't need to go on Rightmove. We actually need to go to Nicol Co. We need to get the pricing quite early on because they're going to know what's going to happen. We need to know what kind of buyers we've got. And that's now, I think, where we're kind of held in our patch, that we can consult so far before they even buy the site. And then they can kind of factor us into their marketing as things go.
I think that would, if I was using any analogy between you guys and Butler and Stag, and I think there are a lot, and obviously we've only been working with the guys at Butler and Stag for a couple of years now. What I think is interesting is that too many agents, one of them biggest mistakes they make when they go into employing into a land and new home space is they think they've got to go and sign the next Ronaldo. And my view is always, if they're leaving another company, if they're that good, why are they leaving their pipeline behind? Okay, you think you're going to take a sales manager out of a house builder? Well, they're not then a service provider. And what I think has been really interesting with the journey you guys have been on is that I don't want to say sort of younger people per se, but you've had people that have almost come with no experience of it. Obviously, they've been down here, we've done a lot of training with them, so not taking the credit for all of that, but certainly contributed to kind of the standard. And I guess what sort of strikes for me is back to that likeable piece you said earlier on. The guys have all embraced the relationship building, haven't they?
Yep. And a developer knows that they've still got me there as well. So I am able to delegate some of the work to people like Heather, who she can run sites herself. She couldn't at the beginning. She was from an estate agency background. She'd done sales progression for another estate agent. So she had a great understanding of the business. But to really kind of start coming up with the idea, she's fantastic. We've got 3 late units left on Spitfire, and there she is. She's thinking about how we can do interviews with existing homeowners now, so that new buyers who might be thinking about buying one of the last 3 have comfort. She just got it. I think a developer feels comfort in knowing that the boss is there nearby. But once your staff, like your Heathers and Tom and others that I've had before, once they start just being honest, delivering, calling back when they say they will, and working bloody hard and letting people know about it, I don't think a developer has any issues with it.
I guess it's giving them that autonomy as well, that you can feel comfortable to let them loose as well. Because as you say, you can't be everywhere with every developer, with every client, every single time. So they need to take that autonomy and run with it. I guess they learn from mistakes, as we all do.
Definitely. I'm not looking over their shoulder, but we do check-ins and regular check-ins. And, you know, I've kind of got, as a business, we don't really want people to have their mobile phones out on the desk because it can distract from the task that they're asked to do. But they have a work WhatsApp kind of account, work mobile phones and stuff like that. And sometimes that's the easiest way for us to communicate. Yeah. And some developers prefer it that way as well. So you've kind of had to adapt your business a little bit to what the developer wants or needs. There's probably a little bit more flexibility in their role than there are for other people, but they give that back. So they might have to do an open day on a Saturday when a developer needs it to happen. It's not their normal rotated Saturday, but they're willing to do it. They'll swap a couple of Saturdays to make it happen, that kind of stuff. So, they're mega. And it's nothing more successful, obviously, than enjoying those last couple of transactions, those last exchanges. It's really nice to get them over the line. Good stuff. Well, obviously the order book's looking good. Obviously moving forwards. In terms of you, again, you never seem to be out without energy, high energy. You're up early in the morning. I know we'll be having an early WhatsApp or an Instagram, or you're out doing your run or whatever, and you seem to be like that sort of Duracell bunny, just like constantly on the go. What's your downtime? What's your passion to kind of? I go to bed early. I go to bed at 9 o'clock most nights. I would imagine you do. I do. I go to bed at 9 o'clock most nights. I've got an Aura ring, and it tells me that I kind of average about 7 hours sleep. I get up at 4:35. I train at 6 o'clock. I'm sorting out the kids, getting them to school quarter to 8, and then I'm in the office. My downtime now is I don't work on the weekends, and I've got a sporty son and daughter. One does football and rugby, the other does dancing. And my time's kind of spent watching them on the sideline and seeing them do well. I'm a rugby coach. I enjoy that. That gives me a bit of kind of just release, really, I suppose, watching the kids do well. We've got a massive team. We've got 37 kids that play for us. We've got most of the private school that my son goes to. Most of their team are in our team. So that all goes down well. I know you're into your golf. Obviously, I've played with you a few times. Are you semi-pro now? No, I'm definitely not. No, I have to keep practicing, I have to keep going. But, I do enjoy a round of golf. And actually, that's probably one of the best places to network, actually, I think, because you came for my 40th birthday. There was other agency friends that were there. And, you've got network connections with them anyway. But there's nothing better than just having a knock for 3 hours, getting frustrated at certain moments, but just having a chat, aren't you? Just kind of find out a little bit more about people. So... my golf is normally a long walk ruined. Yeah, I've seen it, actually. It is. for everyone involved. Don't worry, it's on the list this year. We're on a mission. I think got new clubs. I think that's important. And thank you for letting me come on this podcast. One of my plans for this year is to appear on 50 podcasts. This is number 3. I've got number 4 coming up. I've got number 2's about to be released, I think, in a week or so's time. So... I could talk to anyone about anything. I've got scar tissue from building a business from the age of 25 up to 40, and I've learned a few things along the way. So I just enjoy kind of keeping busy. I suppose that's the best way to put it. As you did, really. Yeah, I've got energy. I don't watch telly. I prefer to be talking to people and doing something. Good. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming down today. Yeah, thank you, Matt. We really value our relationship with you and the family, and obviously the wider team. We always know that we can rely on you, and I know obviously we've got a great project we're just about to get stuck into as well. So, yeah, exciting times, and I just wish you continued success. It's wonderful for us to kind of watch the young man that we sort of came into having a relationship with, 7-8 years ago now, and just watching the business grow and fly, and richly deserved results. So, well on to you. And your support's been a massive part of it. I'm sure there's a lot of agents up and down the country that have had moments with you that have revolutionised their business, and it is being held to account and stuff like that, and being told there are other ways of doing things. It really helps. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you, mate. Cheers. It's good to see you soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matt, for joining us, and look forward to joining you, or you joining us on our next podcast at the Plotting Shed. Thank you.